Hey, what's up everybody? This is Josh with Desert Gardens Homestead. Today we're going to be diving into these steps on how to properly protect your moringa tree through the winter. If you live in zone 9A or here in Tucson, Arizona or colder, these steps are going to be very critical for you to properly overwinter the moringa. In this video, I'm going to show you how to properly prune the moringa, cage it, mulch it, as well as to preserve the leaves and mulch the wood. So this is going to be a jam-packed video with no delays. You know, moringas thrive in warmer temperatures. So I'm going to show you how to overwinter this tree to not only survive, but thrive. Hang with me. And so my first order of business will be to harvest all the available leaves that I want to dry out and have over the winter months. So I'll go ahead and just start getting small bundles and zip tie them up and allow them to hang. And after hanging for just a short bit, your bundles will dry out and begin to look like this, and they will be ready for processing. Let me show you a finished product. And as you can see, my stash is getting a little low, so I do need to refill this half-gallon jar. And this is the stash. Let me show you the product. And I store it in this grinder and I cook with this, and so I grind down moringa on everything that I cook here. I'm the primary cook, and so I use moringa in absolutely everything. So this is the finished product, and this is how we use it in our household. I just essentially turn it into powder, which I then have in a grinder, and I put a seasoning on all our food. So for the first order of business, we're going to need a sawzall or a pruning saw. Make sure that you're using a pruning blade in your sawzall, something that'll give you a really nice fine cut. And also I'm going to be cutting all the branches at a 45-degree cut. But before I get going, I just wanted to give a shout out to David the Good. I learned this technique about a decade ago, and when you were back in your North Florida food forest. So I just wanted to give a shout out to David the Good for teaching me this technique so that I could show it to everybody else along the way. So David the Good, if you're watching, I dedicate this video to you. All right, my friends, well, step one is complete. I have all the branches cut. I just wanted to give you a quick look here at the base of the trunk. Now this is about 10 years of doing this every year. As you can see, this trunk is just getting massive in diameter. Each year this trunk just grows out wider and wider. And so there could come a time when I may not even have to do this any longer just because the trunk is so large. But I do have a couple moringa near the house that actually do survive without any protection through the winter. But this guy I do protect. But as you can see, I've got all the cuts really at a 45, so if it does get any watershed, it'll just come off. But once I get the cage and the straw around it, it'll be nice and insulated. But there is the trunk. Okay, hey, it's time to make a cage. So I've already got a light-duty cage constructed here, and I've put it around the circumference of the moringa. So come on in a little closer and let's take a look. So as mentioned, this is just that light-duty fencing material you can buy at any big box store. What I did was I just made sure that the circumference of the light-duty fencing material is wide enough to allow plenty of room around the trunk. And that way it has plenty of insulation with the straw. So you don't want the trunk right up against the fence because it may induce some winter damage. So I allowed, you know, a minimum of 4 inches around, but as wide as possible. And now that we've got the cage around the trunk, let's go ahead and give it a stuff. One thing I do want to mention before we start filling this with the straw is that if you live in a windy location or an area where the cage may come into some movement or be hit, you could always stake the cage down beforehand. So if you had some large gardening stakes or anchors, you can go ahead and just secure it around. It's usually best to do that from the inside and just push it out. And then once you have those stakes in place, then we can go ahead to the following step. So to start stuffing, all we're going to do is just take one square at a time, and you just want to stuff the base. And you really want to push down to get any air pockets out. And then we'll just work our way around. And as we go, we're just constantly pushing down and trying to push this out as well. So we're going to be stuffing almost an entire bale within this, and it will be heaping. As you can see, I've probably got maybe about almost a foot between the top of this to the top of this. And then once I've got it done, I'll put like a nice plastic pallet on top with some rocks to hold it all in place. So I'll go ahead and fill this up, and then I'll bring it back once it's done. And this, my friends, is the finished product. So I put almost about 3/4 of a bale of straw. Now, if you don't have access to straw, you could certainly use pine needles or leaves if you had to. Anything that's organic, you know, the smaller in diameter it is, the more you would have to use. So keep that in mind. But grasses, straw, pine needles, anything of that nature. But I went ahead and just stuffed it heaping full. And I've secured it on the top with a couple large rocks with the little plastic crate, which will kind of hold it all into place. I've done that for the last couple years and haven't had any issues with it. And so I've got some old moringa logs that I've just kind of thrown around the base on the exterior perimeter, just to give it a little support on the base. Really isn't needed, but it's there just in case. So now that we've finished our cage, let's go ahead and just make use of the rest of the moringa. And just take a look at the harvest and bounty today. I just collected a nice little bit of the moringa branches and leaves. And so I'll go ahead and get all this chipped up and turned into some really fine mulch that I'll use on all my container plants. It is just a fabulous container mulch, chock full of all the nutrients and minerals that will break down and feed the container plants. So hang with me. Let me break out my chipper and we'll get it chipped up. The chipper is fired up. Let's get busy. This, my friends, is what it's all about. This moringa tree not only fed myself, my household, all of my goats, all of my chickens. For this entire season, I literally pulled leaves from this tree every day this year. And now that I've chopped it down, I've turned it into some mulch. This moringa is going to continue to feed my plant nursery and all my container plants within my nursery. And the moringa is the most nutritious green in the world. So I would contend that this is also the most nutritious mulch in the world. And just take a look at how beautiful this mulch is. It's got a fabulous ratio between the greens and browns. It's just a nice fine mulch. It's just perfect for container plants. And what's going to happen is this is going to begin to compost, and all the fungal microbes are going to come in and take hold. And this will just be a fungally dominated mulch material that will be steaming hot, and I can go ahead and top dress all my container plants, and it will just bring in all that life, all that goodness, breaking down all this nutrition and feeding my plants. Thanks for watching. With these simple steps, you'll be able to help your moringa tree make it through those winter months and come back even stronger next spring. If you found anything helpful in this video today, go ahead and smash that thumbs up button. And also, let me know in the comments, are you trying this overwintering technique? Also, don't forget to subscribe to keep up with all things desert gardening. And also, if you're interested in learning more about caring for fruit trees, go ahead and check out this playlist right here. Once again, thanks for watching today, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, and God bless.